How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Q&A. Today we're joined with Mod Ed.
Hello.
Mod Kieran.
Hello.
Mod John C.
Hello.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Myself, Mod Archie. We have some exciting stuff to preview today. We have the Infernal Maxcape, and we also have the new Obsidian armor. Stay tuned for that.
Woo!
All right. Let's get into the questions then. Actually, last thing I wanted to mention before, of course, the Twitch Prime promo is still going on until May 8th. I think you have a little over a week now to take advantage of that. Of course, if you have Twitch Prime, you get free RuneScape membership. Go ahead and take advantage of it if you haven't already. Let's get into the questions.
Sell out.
Panda says, drop rates for raids.
I've wanted to do it for like a month now.
Were you waiting for a retweet count or something?
No. I wasn't going to milk it this time.
But you should retweet all his stuff
Because
anyway, just in case.
People want the raid rates that badly that we'll do fine on its own. But it's not a simple matter of just saying, it's 1 in 10. Like, there's a whole system to explain with the raid system. And I just haven't got around to it, ultimately.
Wow,
I've been busy coding the Infernal, which is coming along very nicely. It's very exciting. The final boss is looking awesome. And
It was doing the arm thing yesterday.
it was. It's not anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
But yeah, I'll fight. I just need to find time to get it out. That's all. But I expect it fairly soon.
Worth mentioning, Mod Rock is grabbing questions from the chat, so go ahead and at RuneScape, good luck. Next question. Slim says, now that shift-click drop has been out for a while, can we pull shift-click to withdraw X in the bank?
So the engine feature that they gave us to do shift drop only sadly works for items in your main inventory panel. And the bank, of course, is not your main inventory panel, I'm afraid. So that's not something we can do just now until, more from the engine. We would, however, be able to do shift-click on other stuff in your main inventory panel, which I think might be coming up later in the question list.
I think so. We can address it now, might as well.
Like rune crafting pouches, for emptying them. Well, that's question solved.
All right. I think that one would have more support than the withdraw X. A little opposition in the chat there, surprisingly. Moving on. Katie says, can the Bloodhound drop rate be re-looked at? Only one person is over the drop rate, and there's less than 300 in the game after a year.
Is that a bad thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing. I wanted that pet to be rare, and it's a really cool one as well. Like,
It doesn't feel right to be going back nearly a year later and start adjusting drop rates at that point.
it's meant to be something you get lucky to get. Rather, if you're grinding out, yes, you can do it, but it's meant to be insane if you're grinding out. So
That's it. It's more like, I can see completionists and people trying to collect all of the pets being extremely frustrated, but I don't think anybody's close yet to getting all the pets.
people are getting fairly close.
Okay.
But there's a new one to come soon, which is going to be quite difficult.
Ooh.
Spoilers.
It's meant to be. It's meant to be rare, ultimately.
Right. Captain says, emblem farming, when will it be fixed? So I had a discussion today with Modweth and decided I'm just going to prioritize this next week. Don't have time this week, but we're just going to go ahead and tackle it now. We're waiting for something that's going to take a little bit more time to create an automated system to help tackle this, but I'm going to tackle this in my own time until we can get that sorted. So essentially I'm going to be hopping into World 18 and banning people doing it. So
I have an update on the automated system as well, if you'd like.
Oh, good.
So it was ModPie who wrote this system for RuneScape's Bounty Hunter. And we're trying to integrate that into the old school team. It's the old school engine, which one of the engine devs has started doing recently. It's not a small thing and it's not a quick thing, but they have started. And how it works is it gives us the ability to just define a fixed amount of time between the amount of time you last killed someone and the amount of time before you're next allowed to kill them and get that rare drop. So we can make it anything from 4 minutes to 45 days and go nuts with that. And we can specify limits of how many times we kill them as well. So if, say, I've killed you 7 times in the last week and we want to set that as the threshold, I can't kill you anymore and get more emblems. And we have total freedom to adjust that as much as we like.
Plenty of balancing to do there.
Pretty damn good.
I've had the same target many times in a day. We'll definitely get that one balanced to a T. But until then, for the time being, essentially they're throwaway accounts, low levels, only created for doing this purpose. So I'm going to ban them and we'll stop. And if they don't, then we'll carry on further.
Let's not.
But I think that'll do it, and you'll see that as soon as I think Tuesday, because I have Monday off.
I also believe we can set different limits for different combat brackets as well. So that'd be nice.
All right, fantastic. Bloody says, can we receive a message when we hit the trade limit at the Grand Exchange?
The trade limit, as in
So
the G cap, the trade cap of that item.
Yeah.
I don't believe we currently have access to that number from the engine, unfortunately.
The Grand Exchange server does not send information to each of the worlds to say you're not getting any more for this reason. It merely stops allocating more to you, and unless we can get it updated to tell all the game worlds why it stopped allocating more to you, and then get the worlds updated to receive that signal and tell you about it. No, sorry. Reasonable thing, but you may have noticed getting stuff from the engine team is not a matter of just saying done.
Yeah.
Although I think you occasionally like to say guaranteed next updates when we talk about these things.
I don't have any recollection of that.
Oh,
If we could
It's
at
a good
least,
meme, though.
if we could at least get an engine command that reads what we've specified on that config, essentially, or what its limit actually is, we might be able to tell them what the limits of each item are.
well, that would be a
at least.
nice start, and I imagine it'd be easier for them. Although,
But again, it's in
they
that
would
list
probably
of...
really like knowing when they've hit it.
Yeah.
Especially some of them probably have rather odd things to remember.
You get in that situation when you don't know and you just keep ratting up the price and you think, why is it not buying? it's a rune dagger and I'm paying 100k.
Yeah.
It's because you've bought out your limit.
Yeah, whereas even if we did say, well, the limit happened to be 5,000 for this or 13,000 for this, unless they think, how many have I had? I can't remember. Oh,
Yeah.
It was probably 13,000, that would be it.
All right. Let's grab one from the chat then. Old Shep says, I haven't played RuneScape for a number of years and have started playing old school RuneScape. Have you added any new quests to old school that wasn't in it originally?
3 of them. 3 new quests.
Weren't.
Would you like to tell us what they are?
Can you name them?
No. Monkey Madness 2 was the first new quest, the first Grandmaster in old school RuneScape. Continuation of Monkey Madness, oddly enough.
Nice.
And then there was Michelin Mystery, which was originally the Halloween event from last year, but it was so awesome it became a quest. And only last week we got Client of Karen, which was a brand new quest for Zaya, just kicking off the storyline there, and hopefully more to come.
You know, we're not done there. Fossil Island, which is now completely past its poll, has a quest to first access it.
Wow,
Bone
exciting.
Voyage.
Bone Voyage, yes.
Bone Voyage.
How difficult is that quest going to be?
Well, I failed the challenge on it about 5 times before I managed to get there, though I think that might just be me.
So new Grandmaster quest confirmed.
In terms of requirements,
It's not.
the
No,
requirements are very low. It's just about getting around. There is a, don't want to call it a puzzle, but there is
The
an
thing you
activity.
do.
Yeah.
Like,
That thing
it's
what you
already
do.
locked behind the
Kudos.
from a museum, so the quest doesn't need to be super hard or anything like that. It's just meant to introduce people to the area and the start of the the museum getting there and whatnot.
Also, quite a lot of the content on there has skill requirements, even if getting
Yeah.
to stand next to it did not.
Mudjed's got a bit of a habit of writing quests now.
Yes. How many has he done for us?
This is his third.
He did the
He's
majority.
catching me.
Yeah, Monkey Madness 2. I mean, the storyline for Mr. Mystery was
Tom
written,
H,
yeah.
but Jed worked with him on the conversion to make it a formal quest, I think.
Yeah, Client of Karen was from Mod Wolf. It was a tap project. And yeah, now Bone Voyage.
Maybe if your JMod name begins with a J, you can write quests.
You know I'm not going to get around to it. Stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay. This next guy's name is Jed. Jed asks, buff the leaf-bladed battle axe.
Is this our Jed or another Jed?
Another Jed.
How many's he got in his bank?
he actually gave me his RuneScape name and said, you can look. I'm not doing that. That's not a thing. That was just a one-time thing. So we've said this before. It is
I've written it
quite
down.
underwhelming. I think apparently Ash said on Twitter adding a special attack would be reasonable.
It was one of the things that a player suggested, and it certainly would be reasonable.
I think there's one unfortunate stat where it's mainly a slash weapon, but it's got higher crush bonus. So I'd like to sort that out. It's been on the list for a while, it's just not got round to it, really.
As a battle axe, giving it a reasonable crush bonus is understandable, and yet if its combat stances don't suit that, I can see the problem.
Yeah.
Now, if it had a spec that used its crush bonus and only mostly worked on those creatures in... Yeah, me again. I mostly worked on those creatures that need leaf-bladed weapons. I don't think there'd be any risk of it becoming OP.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
the question, is saying the sword is still better damage at Carrasques.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. That the reason this is not a 50 attack weapon, I think it's 65. The reason it's high is this was intended to be the weapon that makes those tasks a bit more viable with melee, because you don't want to go and use a level 50 weapon. You use your whip for every other task, right? So making the battle axe at level 65 allows you to get a better weapon that makes those tasks not as painful. Unfortunately, it's
Not
a bit
better
weak right
enough,
there.
yeah. Sometimes you end up with stats on an item and they just don't turn out to line up with what combat stances are available from it, which is a bit awkward.
All right. SK Dude Man says, can the Diary Cape have 5 tellies to each teleport instead of total?
That's not a bad idea. We just had a chat about what's with Diary Cape. We're thinking of putting something on the next poll, which was double the teleports.
Double, I think it's making it 10. Yeah.
5 to each is entirely doable. I'm kind of indifferent as to which one we go with. We did want to go infinite for balancing reasons, because some of those teleports are very useful. But what do you guys think?
I don't mind either way.
Both sound good.
If the players want to put it in a straw poll, then that would be one way of seeing which way to go on it.
Sure.
If Mod Rock wants to put it into a straw poll.
I like that idea though, because it avoids the issue of the infinite teleports to one place.
Yeah.
You know what you got, what you're typing? All right. You can vote on that in a second. Moving on to the next question then. Actually, he had several questions. Can we have the ability to receive clues at Motherlode Mine like other mining spots?
Because it's not good enough.
That's a fair point. I mean, Motherlode Mine's come a long way since when we initially released it, and it was pretty well positioned when we initially released it. I mean, you get clue scrolls mining through Geode, is that right? I guess you're mining pay dirt there. What if pay dirt had a chance to be cleaned into?
We can find ways of giving them a geode. Heck, we can give them the geode instead of the pay dirt if we want to.
You get gems there at the moment, so you don't always get pay dirt.
Also, the amount of clues, the availability of clue scrolls is so widespread now as well. That
I wish we could give them another thing to spend those nuggets on, but I would never say, oh, yeah, you can buy a skull for this.
I'm surprised it didn't already, to be honest. I'm surprised it didn't with the original release, but it doesn't seem that popular.
Well, if we did pull it, they could vote no.
I mean, we've added clue scrolls to hunting implings, we've added clue scrolls to fishing, we've added clue scrolls to woodcutting, we've added clue scrolls to mining as well.
thieving from the rogues' chests in the wilderness as well.
Yeah, so we've got clue scrolls in quite a lot more skilling places now, and I think it already feels in the game that it's not just a PVM content reward anymore.
So we've got the results back from that question earlier. With the achievement cape, would you like 10 teleports per day, increased from 5, or 5 to each NPC? 60% saying 5, 40% saying 10. That's good, guys. Thanks. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think we'll go with the 5 for each NPC. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, slightly more support for it. We've no reason not to.
All right. Could the Playground House dummies show the max hit of the twisted bow?
Did we not put the magic level on?
I'm pretty sure I already did that.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah. What are you doing?
You
Asking
might
this
have.
question?
Do you need the upgraded one for it, perhaps?
No. Unless, of course, it's bugged.
It's possible.
But I believe I gave that thing like 400 magic or something stupid.
That's pretty high.
So it should work.
Okay. Can prayer and maxscapes work as the holy wrench in the inventory, so we don't need to carry both?
Yeah, that'll
Yes.
be on the next poll.
All right, we've got an image with quite a bit to it for the next suggestion. Biomaster Zap has a suggestion here saying, New God Wars dungeon drops. Bando's helmet, 65 defense requirement to fit in between the Nadeznaut and Serphelm. Zamorakian blades, 70 attack and strength, two-handed weapon like Torag's hammers, same speed as whip, higher DPS against high defense foes, worse defense against low defense foes. Armored boots, 70 defense in between rangers and Vigatians. Sarah Shield, 70 defense, 70 prey, highest prayer bonus in between Dragon Square Shield and DFS. And that was it.
Controversial reaction in the chat. There's a big mix, but everyone's interested in it.
The big dual-wielding swords.
They're epic, right?
Yeah.
But so firstly, the boots are awkward because ranger boots are obviously inherently valuable. They also combine with the crystal to make the next tier up. If suddenly there's a one in between them, there's perhaps a little bit of an issue there. The other rewards, they're cool rewards, but to me, God Wars has enough on offer. And I think
It'd be nicer to add them to something new.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
new boss.
that's how I feel. All of these rewards are sort of like that helmet would work as a reward from a demi-boss or something in Stellaire. Like, this is reward space that we can fill at a later date with new content rather than adding to something that's already got value to kill.
Well, I mean, sort of. Some of these, obviously, the context is like the Zamorakian Blades comes from Zamorak. We can't really make a new boss.
Yeah, but I mean, in terms of the niche that it's filling, we can
Right.
fill it out
Right.
at a later date.
You can do those blades from a demon then.
Yeah, maybe a demon demi-boss.
We can
below a
recolor
Slayer dungeon that came out today.
recolor all the bosses, give them different names. It's a new dungeon.
You laugh at that suggestion, but I did once put together a concept of going to an alternate, almost like an alternate reality where the God Wars were. I think the premise for it was try and find a way to sort out overcrowding, but without just giving them instances. So you have to basically double the capacity by just having the same chambers with the same drops, but recolor them, give them a different name, and put something else in there.
General Grudor.
Yeah, something like that. It's yeah. I never went anywhere with it because we just added more worlds, I think, in the end.
Where are we at here? He has a couple more questions. Can we get a blast mining sack overlay like we do with the Motherlode mine?
Don't see why not.
No problem with
Is there a
that.
capacity? There is obviously capacity. Isn't it like 1,000 or something on the blast mine?
It's for the blast mine. It's got the awkward case of having to check for the total of any individual ore being at the threshold, even if you didn't have any of the other kinds of ore. So that's when it considers itself full, in case you have the misfortune to deposit, lots of the stuff what you mine and put in the machine. If you get lots of that and it all turns out to be the same ore, it has to be able to not overflow the machine.
Having some of what you actually gets determined on when you withdraw, isn't it? What if you get 2 or 1?
I think it determines what you get when you when it explodes, doesn't it?
I think it might determine the ore. I'm not sure if it determines the 1 or 2 bit.
Oh yeah, that might be different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Regardless, definitely.
Somebody in the chat said Ash dab. Did I see a picture of you dabbing this morning?
Oh, that was yesterday. Yeah.
That may now be out on the internet.
We were
for the world to see.
discussing, special moves that could be done by a forthcoming boss, and it's got 2 arms. And I thought, well, one particular move that it could do might be that move, along with some other stuff. But no, it doesn't really seem appropriate for the area, so we don't need any more of that.
Just to confirm, the Infernal boss doesn't dab as a special attack.
It hurts. Is what it does.
It just might have.
Why not, Kieran?
It just
This
might.
is clearly a flaw in the design.
It just might have looked like that when the animation went wrong.
Yeah, it didn't mean to, but it looked awesome when it was doing the arm thing, homie.
Wow. All right. A swarm of do-its in the chat. Any volunteers? All right, moving on.
No one can match. No one can match what was achieved yesterday.
Can the master clue step requiring the new crystal bow be changed to not be new, as it is easy to retaliate on the double agent and lose the new status?
Just turn or retaliate off. Get good.
It's a fair answer.
That is a fair answer.
Let's look at the people. Remember when we made the mud pie playthrough, and everyone would throw their mud pie, and you'd have to go and get another one, and they weren't nice to go and get. That was a bigger issue. This is less so. I don't think this really necessarily needs changing.
Okay.
As they say,
It is a fair
get good.
point.
As you say.
Next suggestion has an image as well. CH says, suggestion, the item stat compare UI from RS2.
Oh, that thing. I was playing this game, Borderlands, and it had an item comparison screen for comparing the various guns you might have, and I found it really hard to use. So after that weekend, I came back to work and wrote that thing, which we had the advantage for point-and-click interface, of course, this being a computer game rather than a console thing. I'm glad you like it, and the commands we've got for transmitting information from the server to the client are actually different from what I used for that. But I'm sure we could put something together that would get the effect.
I really like that feature.
This would be an interesting one for a straw poll as well, actually. Could we straw poll the UI from RS2 then? So it's the item stat comparison screen.
I remember somebody came over from the localization team and had me put in a few extra features to it, such as if you tried to check the weight of Anna in a barrel, it gave you a message about how it's not rude to ask. It's kind of rude to ask people about their weight. And if you tried to check the weight of the monkey that you might have in your backpack, it just shuts the interface and says "ook" at you because the monkey doesn't cooperate very well. He was adamant I should do these things, and I was happy to comply.
All right, we're going to have that strap on the chat for you guys momentarily.
I think maybe we could expand it so you can complete 2 full setups of equipment. So you could fill up one inventory, fill up another one, and compare them fully rather than 2 individual items.
I'd only be curious to use it to see max hits or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, since it's calculating most of the stuff on the server rather than looking up metadata directly on the client, we can get more information available to us.
All right, we've strap pulled.
I was going to say, as a thing that just looks up the stats of one item or compares 2 items with fixed stuff, with a fixed number of bits of info to show, that ain't very hard. If we start trying to add a whole new GUI for having an arbitrary number of items in this side and an arbitrary number of items in this side, and somehow cope with the fact that you wanted to have more in your inventory to put them into this in the first place, that's going to take a little bit more doing.
Results back for the item stat comparison screen, whether you'd like it or not. 88% saying yes. I feel like that's probably representative.
I can't imagine why they'd hate it.
Yeah. Where would you put that button?
Well, we stuck it in the equipment screen before. It seems as good a place as any for it.
That's the intuitive place for it, I think.
Yeah.
Also, it gives that thing a use because, there's not a lot else on it other than item stats. So that's a good place for item stats.
Another one for you here. Master has a suggestion. Update the wise old man to clean out all unnecessary quest items from your bank.
We would be spending a very long time identifying every single quest item in all the members' quests and giving him handling for them all. Such a long time that, for the benefit it would give you, I'd really rather spend time on something else. If you don't need something, you probably didn't need us to tell you about it. Just go through your bank. If you can't recognise it, then you're probably not using it very much.
All right. Another suggestion. I think we have an image. This should be the last image of the stream. Ben Toki says, suggestion, give us the ability to cancel tasks from this screen. There it is. Yeah.
Just right-click the NPC and click cancel. Like,
I don't think the code would be too hard to adapt for it, though, if we set out to try it.
I think we could do it pretty damn easily, yeah. But is
no.
it that hard? I guess it makes it easy because she could generate another task for you as soon as you press it. But
it would also mean that if you're on the contact NPC spell, then you could use it at that point.
ooh, that is an interesting use for it.
You better not click out by mistake, of course, but that could be a use for it.
That's nice. I like it now.
I'm glad
Either
we had
that
this
or the
little
fact
chat.
that the whole chat turned against you.
I like it now. You can be back on my side.
If you say enough rude words, he'll like more things.
Okay. We'll wait a little bit longer before we show you guys the sneak peek. Hang tight. This was a popular suggestion this week. Pinch says, let us adopt the stray dog in Varrock for 10 mil and proceeds go to charity like the RS3 well.
Well, there's only one dog, so surely once you've adopted it, that's it.
One of you gets for 10 mil.
What are they
Now
going
wait, let
to
them bid on
do
it.
once they've adopted the dog? We're just going to do it with their cat and leave it in their bank for 10 years, then sell it for death runes?
Well, I
Because
hope
if that's
they-
the case, then
Blood runes.
they're not helping the dog at all.
I hope they'd clean it. Have you seen that dog?
No,
The dog doesn't want to be
can we-
adopted. The players
I really like the idea of
like
auctioning
that.
it, like you said. Next time we do a charity event, we can just do that and see just how high the bids get.
It's a horrible idea though, because that means only one person's going to have it and everyone else is going to be like, I want it.
Can we give it an
What happens if that
attack
person
option?
doesn't insure it? Does that mean the dog's just gone forever?
Well, the thing is, they said adopt it. They didn't say have it follow them around because they adopted it. So if it was their dog and maybe a description on it said so, and it just happened to live all across the rock and follow people around all day, that would be one way of doing it without making Petscape.
I think we should figure out something to do with the dog, to be honest. Like, we should make a quest or something, I don't know.
Next
you throw-
Grandmaster quest.
Perhaps you throw a bucket of water over it and then the fleas disappear for a bit.
All right.
That's a manky dog.
Or you could lead it to the wilderness ditch, drop some bones on the other side of it, and it can hop over and come out and you can kill it.
Next question is from Too Fat, who says, "Can you update the Wilderness Elite diary that notes dragon bones so that it notes dragon bones on player kills as well?" There's another one we said we're gonna pull. Yeah.
Yeah, we decided we probably could, and will, or at least we'll offer to see how you get on with it.
So if you finish the Elite Wilderness diary and you say want to go kill some people killing green dragons, you can sit there and collect 1,000 dragon bones noted if you wanted to. I
But
think
then
that
do
sounds
you
really
stay
cool.
there and keep collecting them, or do you go bank them?
Yeah. See, I could bank, but then I'm missing out on loot. Or I could stay till 10,000 and maybe die and lose it all.
Greed gets them all in the end.
They seem to have suggested dogfighting as one of the uses for that dog. I suppose you could always go to the rat pits. You know, somebody should one day go to the rat pits, and you could try and put the dog in there instead of your cat and see how it gets on.
Next question.
Sorry.
Overload says, "Can you add a lesser rune pouch? The current rune pouch has no use to PKing, no use PKing due to its 1.2 mil price tag. It wouldn't devalue the current rune pouch, as it's currently more used for PVMers rather than PKers. The lesser rune pouch would hold significantly less runes, but be more useful in the wilderness due to its cheaper price."
I don't accept that. 1.2 mil for 2 inventory spaces isn't valuable. Hell no. You see people, loads of people, go out in max to deep wilderness and they risk, upwards of 40, 50 mil. And just, the extra few DPS, extra little bit of accuracy. 2 inventory spaces is a huge benefit to a PK, and 1.2 mil is nothing.
I consider that we made emblems a bit more accessible than they used to be recently.
That too.
You chose the right side. Well done. They agree.
Woo.
Okay. Fizzmaster says, "Can we see the PvP armors introduced and pulled to old school in some way, shape, or form? They wouldn't necessarily need the same stats as the originals, but would fit a wilderness rejuvenation."
So we pulled them 3 times. I don't think we can get away with a 4th.
I mean, if we were to consider anything like this, it would fit the wilderness rejuvenation. However, that isn't around the corner. That is a good while away before we can offer anything like that. So it's kind of not worth discussing at the moment.
Can we even pull the models back, or do we have to basically remodel them?
I think the models that would be available to us would be from after humans got redesigned.
Yeah.
And that means the labels wouldn't line up and we'd have, bits of your limbs at unnatural angles or something like that. So, not so good.
It's a heavy graphics job.
Well, they don't take that long to make a set of new kit. At least the design wouldn't be going back and forth with the players for 2 weeks trying to find something that people would agree on. I think it's not unreasonable as a graphics job. However, the rest of a project to introduce them would be a rather larger project, like if they were coming from, say, some ghosts in a cave.
A question in the chat saying, "Why isn't the wilderness rejuvenation being considered for a while?" Because we're way too busy with other stuff, Infernal, Fossil Island, etc. Not until that stuff is done can we consider something like that. That is probably the next thing we'll be looking at.
We think we had some space in the summer, didn't we?
Potentially.
Did we then find that our staffing was a bit different to what we planned at when we...
Yes, although there is a job open.
Oh, good.
So if you think you can be a content dev and you could code something like the wilderness rejuvenation, go apply. This is where ModRock pastes the link all over the place.
Do it.
Out.
Please.
Let's grab another one from the chat. Rolfarn. "If an account is in the top 2003 on seasonal deadman mode and 3 of the top 2000 get banned, will I qualify?" Are you trying to get others banned? He's going to look into the others like, this guy did something shady. It's a good question, though.
I want to say
Ron
probably,
is the person to
yeah,
ask it, answer it.
It would seem fair.
Ronan doesn't know.
I missed that.
If this guy's ranked 2003, and then we ban 3 people in the top 2000, will he be included in the top 2000?
No, the names are pulled today. Top 2000 will be taken from that. Whoever is still on that.
Yeah.
That's that.
Okay. So top 2000 have already received their message, or they're yet to, but they will.
After we announce the dates.
Okay. But yeah, you won't make it in. Bad luck. A lot of people leave it to the absolute last second. You'd be surprised. Like, do it the day before at least, guys.
Yeah. Deadman game mode.
Right. Moving on. You'll understand that joke next week. where have we gone to here? Rusty says, can the new Slayer staff enchantment use blood runes instead of death runes? We have enough death rune sinks. Feels weird that bloods are now cheaper than deaths.
No, next.
Sorry.
Well, changing what rune the spell uses just because you've enchanted the staff would have been pretty awkward given that it casts its standard spell the rest of the time when you're not casting it at your target. So having you bring both kinds of runes would be a pain in the wass name. We are, of course, in discussion about other things we can do to use blood runes in future.
Yeah, and also on that topic, I believe we're planning on offering double death rune crafting at 99 with the next pull. So
I mean,
that might help a little bit.
This is not the right way to go about making bloods.
This isn't a good deal
Bloods
for
more
me.
expensive. if suddenly and when suddenly bloods go, so let's say back higher in price, and then deaths go down, are they going to say now change it back?
Well, a spell that chooses which rune it uses based on which one has the lower value at the time might actually. Well, it's not impossible. We could probably do it. I just don't want to.
I think last question before we head into the sneak peek of the week this week. Sarah Solo says, what is the team's 5-year plan for Old School?
5-year plan?
Oh, that's my question.
Do you have a full answer for the next 5 years?
No.
Sounds a bit Stalinist.
I have like a general kind of mission kind of thing.
To make Old School great. It already is, but make it greater. Yeah.
So Chris actually showed me this question before the Q&A to sort of have a bit of a chance to prepare for it. And the answer is actually quite simple. It's just continue growing the way we have been. That's like, consider where we were 4 years ago. I wasn't here. It was just Ash, Matt, and a certain Mod Reach, and Mod Nexus as well.
Yes, Mod Nexus.
So there was 4, went down to 3, and now there's, 16 of us in the team. The players have gone from, the low sort of, beneath 100,000, I think, at one point. No, sorry, that's DAU.
Yeah, we had about 130,000 members, 120 to 130,000 members.
And now we're closing on 500,000 members, with over 200,000 of you playing every single day. And we just want to continue that growth, and everything we can to do that is driven by the community. So we continue doing what we're doing, keep the community growing, keep your community drive, so you tell us what to do, how to do it, and we just make the greatest content that we can.
The fact there were more than triple that lowest membership point is just mind-blowing.
Yes.
And if you look at that other figure of how many people log in each day, I think that's about 6 times higher. Yeah. So there's more of you, and more of you are playing more often.
I've always wished we could have an answer like this when people say, like, I don't know, should I play right now? Or are less people playing now? It's like not even close, complete opposite.
No, well, we're in the best place we've ever been, and we just want to keep going on this upward trajectory. The competitive gaming side's been huge for us as well. The exposure that the Deadman tournaments give us is huge. It brings in so many people, and continue doing that, get bigger and get better at it. And I think we've been doing great, and continue to do so.
All right, good answer. Let's move into the sneak peek of the week then.
The mics are on.
So I just realized
Wait,
the commentary for this.
Is it Ryan meant to be commentating this?
So Mod Rai created a video for us. Of course, he couldn't join us on the PCs. We asked him to gather some footage. What we're looking at right now is the current Infernal cape, as well as the Obsidian armor to come with the Inferno. So you can see that was that. That was a quick video. Wow. Can we play it again?
Yeah.
Hey, looks pretty good.
Did a raccoon just run out of him?
There you go. You can thank Mod Rai for that. Looking pretty stylish. I think we're saving the Max Inferno cape then for maybe next week's stream, because that was intended to be shown today. I don't think we actually have that to show right now. Might be changing that up a bit, but there you go. You can send feedback at JagXRai on Twitter. And there you have it.
I believe next week we'll show a sneak peek of the layout for more Old Wreck. Yeah. And that should be exciting.
Plenty of Inferno stuff as we get closer to the date, which was just recently announced. Very exciting. But of course, not spoiling anything as far as like mechanics goes or anything like that. Right, moving along. Tim says, update on Scotizo Pet.
Soon TM.
I was about to say that.
So the artists have to do a little bit of remodeling to make the shrunk version of Skatizo, because you just scale down the big demon to be a size 1 pet, then you end up with a slightly deformed demon, especially with all the spindly bits it's got coming out of it. So they reckon they could either shrink it down and then optimise the model to deal with the distortion you get like that, or Mod West had the idea that since there's already a scaled down one sitting in your POH in the achievement gallery as a one of the jar environments, he might be able to take that and relabel it so it can animate and walk around after you rather than just kind of gliding like that. So they are going to have to do some work. They couldn't give us an ETA for it, but we hope to get that from them as soon as they can, because we know you'd like it, or many of you would like it.
All right. Let's grab another one from the chat. Strike says, is Yama likely to be in a quest series or as a demi-boss, etc.?
So Mod West wrote the entire everything is it Chasm of Fire?
It's a Chasm of Fire.
The Chasm of Fire. I just call it his fiery dungeon, but that could probably be taken the wrong way.
His fiery chasm.
Yes. So you'll have to ask him. Send him a tweet at JXWest. I know he likes to leave things open-ended. You might have noticed the hole in the Kraken Cove as well.
For that matter, we may have noticed that island shaped like an Easter egg that turned up just off the coast of another island.
Yeah, literally an Easter egg.
From West.
Yeah, I'd have to go and ask him. But I think he's got plans. I'm not going to reveal.
I think the Chasm Fire looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Such a cool dungeon.
It's got new music.
Well, plus the way he mapped it, there's one vertical level still not in use below it, so...
Or is it?
Well, there's something down there, and I've seen what's down there, but it's not... it's probably not useful to you.
Or is it?
Or is it?
No, I'm damn sure it's not.
Okay. Gatorade says, would it be possible to implement custom/private game options for Last Man Standing?
So we had a chat about this today as well. It is possible, it's just not simple. It's just one of those things that we could spend a couple of weeks, if not more, trying to get this to the point where you could just customize what's already there. But that time is probably better spent elsewhere.
There's a lot people would like done to that minigame. I think trying to find enough time to do a thorough job on it might be worthwhile when we can.
If you, it's currently empty, so you could take a bunch of your friends there and have a private game now.
That is actually quite private.
With the customization options, would we allow them to do something like, let's say I wanted to host a game for viewers if I was streaming, and I want to throw like a mil cash prize. So the game picks 24 people from the lobby, and they all fight for the prize that I've provided. They don't need to provide a buy-in. Can we do that?
Pretty sure that could be done as part of a full customization.
That sounds fun. It's like Drop Party, but you got to fight for it.
We just need a secure way of handling the cash. What we don't want is a situation where you all buy in at the beginning, if that wasn't what the player had chosen. If you did have to buy in at the beginning, and the coins were stored as part of the game, and then the leader player logged out or something, and no one got any coins, that would be really quite unfortunate.
Right. Silent says, can we see some more bank features? For example, the ability to bank fillers one at a time, and the ability to make clones of items to have the same item in multiple tabs.
It wouldn't be that hard to let you right-click on any empty slot and generate a filler in it, because there's already a click zone there for dragging items to that slot. So we just gave it a right-click option of generating a filler. It would generate a filler, I think, without very much code.
Everyone's thinking this is duping. This is not duping. Cool.
I assume what we're talking about is those things Kieran invented that just fill your bank, but don't come out of your bank.
Currently, you can get as many as you want by filling your whole bank with them and then using the discarder feature to get rid of them one by one. No, I like that. And the other part of the question was, can we have the ability? Was it to have the ability of two stacks of the same item?
Yeah, so the same item,
Yes.
but in multiple stacks. You have like a loot tab. I think RuneScape's trying to do this in their bank rework. But for whatever it's worth, they have 2 of their senior technical developers working on this for longer than 6 months.
And that's including engine work.
Yeah. So
That's a long time.
I mean, they're rebuilt on the whole bank, but they've got a lot of bank features.
Yeah, but we made the whole of raids in like 3.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, next question then. I think he has a few more here. Right-click, buy kitten from Gertrude.
Sure. I mean, like, how can you say no to those little?
It's such a weird one to pull, even
Deeply
like.
values my deference.
Yeah.
Would it have to open up the menu where you have to choose the colour of your kitten? Not kitchen.
I'd expect so,
following
yeah.
you.
But that only appears if you completed the quest, I believe. Otherwise, you get default stock.
I think it might be a persuade thing, isn't it?
It's a
How
persuade
Wait,
thing.
wait.
are you going to say lazy when you want this? Literally skip like 2 lines of dialogue. You are lazy.
Gertrude's dialogue ain't as nice as it could be. I suspect anyone who's trying to plug in a right click to her might also want to take a look at her chat tree and see if there's anything they can do about it.
Someone wants faster death runes.
Yeah. Okay.
They might not in a few weeks. Especially if you do that thing with the stray dog that...
Right-click travel option for the 2 Keldegrim dwarves.
Yes, please.
I love those little
Don't see why not.
options. Want them everywhere.
All right. Maximum asks, can you add a delay or stop potion creation after your necklace of chemistry uses up its last charge?
Yeah, as long as you didn't mind it always happening if the thing degraded. I mean, I imagine you'd be all right with that.
If you're using one, I imagine you'd find it useful. Otherwise, you're unaffected entirely. So
Yeah.
Okay. Where have we gone to here? Jay says, can World 18 and 25, that's the Bounty Hunter and PvP world, rotate between UK and US hosts weekly to give everyone a fair chance at good ping?
I'd quite like to do that.
yes.
I actually really like this idea. I didn't know if we could do it or not.
Yeah, I've raised it before with other members of our team, but there didn't seem to be there seemed to be concerns about it at the time. Either way, ever since I got access to rearrange worlds and change their assignations, I'm totally up for it. It means that it wouldn't be World 18 as a bounty world every week anymore. It might suddenly be World 86 is a bounty world rather than World 18. But I'd hope that players would be able to cope with that. Or does it have to be called 18 if it's a bounty world?
I don't know. I guess I would have expected 18, but if it's not possible, then that's probably fine.
Well, for obvious reasons, we're not shipping the actual piece of hardware back and forth across the Atlantic every time
Right.
players want to change it. If what they really want is to be able to play on a world that's in a different place, then well, we might be able to fake the name as well. But with any luck, they'd be able to accept the gameplay where they need it.
The only way you could keep the world number was if you had separate DNS entries created for each of the game worlds, and the sysadmin team, I think, as well as the engine team, have to manually update whatever's pointing at those entries.
Well, I believe the way is that you can fake the name and what it looks like on the client rather than the actual world it connects to.
We can fake it on our in-game worlds, which are quite effectively. What we can't do is the one on the login screen, which quite a lot of people still use.
Yeah.
And I think that would be asking for confusion.
Right.
With any luck, they'd be open to be able to play the game, even if they had to handle that sometimes it was a different number.
Yeah, I
We
think
could
it'd
just
take them a
rename the
little bit to
world.
get used to.
Instead of being 317, just call it BH.
Yeah.
Well, if they could do that, that would solve it for us.
I don't know if it's possible, but
Oh,
worth
I'm
looking
sure
into.
Yeah. I mean, they managed to get World 400 and all that for us.
We got 666.
Yeah, I'm not sure how thoroughly that was plugged in, you know.
I think Ian faked it across the whole thing.
Oh, God.
All right. Next question then. Where have we gone to here? Liam says, allow us to have multiple rune pouches, please. Annoying having to keep replacing runes in them. Allow only one rune pouch in inventory, though, so it isn't overpowered.
Unfortunately, where it stores the contents is stored per player rather than per item, which means that if you'd got 2 rune pouches, you'd find the exact same runes inside them because that's what your character has in a rune pouch. I'm afraid we would not be able to have 2 separate rune pouches like that.
Okay. Not a lot of support.
It's rather like the essence pouches. In fact, if you did have, 2 medium essence pouches, they'd have the same actual pieces of essence linked from both of them. which means that you wouldn't get any faster at rune crafting. But I think due to the way it works out, you would find they degrade faster.
I think it's something that came up a few weeks ago, and we mentioned we might be able to improve the usability, and so that you can, if you want to separate rune patches for different sets of runes for different purposes, if we can make it easier to swap which runes you have in there, that would help solve
Yes, that
the
would
issue.
help a lot.
I think I just saw that we do have the max Infernal cape, so let's go ahead and get that on screen then. There it is.
Oh, wow.
Hey. Beauty, that looks really nice.
You were prepared to commentate this time.
I don't have a commentary here. Ooh. I really like that. Well done, Mike, right? Yeah. Okay.
I can't clap very
he
hard on
can't
this
hear our
because he
claps,
comes
but
out.
maybe if you let him know on Twitter. That's Jagex Rye.
Sorry, Ryan.
He's watching live.
Oh, he's watching. There you go.
Hello.
Keep those pog champs coming. Maybe a little hey guys. Where are we at here? Kick says, can you please make the Karamja shop instanced?
Firstly, the engine feature for doing instance shops came to the engine well after 2007. It was part of the anti-real world trading updates where the wilderness got removed. That's where we started getting the ability to have instance shops. So firstly, no, we can't do that now. Secondly, I don't want to.
He doesn't really need explaining either.
Okay.
And I think the chat has covered it for us, so we can just move on.
All right. RS Velo says, quick fix to raid scouting. Each player can only make a party once every 5 minutes. What'd you think?
We have
Kind of
another.
frustrating. We've got something else in mind that will help with that.
Yeah.
All right. EBP says, can we have the ability to toggle off the warning for hopping to the high-risk world? That's world 65. It's not actually a PvP world, right? It's just...
It
You just can't
hasn't
use
got the
protected
protected
items.
items,
So.
Yeah.
We could. I mean, we don't have to make them toggle it off. If we just change the thing to yes and never ask me again, then the thing goes away.
That'd be nice. Joe says, will we ever see flasks in the game? That's 6 dose potions instead of 4.
I got massively
Enough.
flamed last time they came up, so unless they've really changed.
You can get one in the Tower of Life. Got tea.
Hilarious.
Thanks.
That had an unusual use, actually.
Yeah, it was a bug.
Yeah, if you wanted to drink, if you were in a no drinks duel, I think it was, you could not drink cups of tea. But if you used them on a tea flask, then you could drink the tea out of that in the no drinks duel. I think we fixed that.
On the actual topic of potion flasks, no.
They don't seem to be asking for it.
Stab says, what are your thoughts on raids as a Slayer task? This will make it more active and will only work on the final boss, being 2 to 5 kills per task.
So basically making Ulm a boss task.
I wouldn't mind.
I'm cautious about having a Slayer task where you need to have other people available to help you do it.
That's the reason it wasn't done in the first place, I believe.
If on the other hand it was an unlockable, then they'd have opted into it and they could opt out of it again, losing points as they go, perhaps, for cancelling a task.
You'll also be killing everything in the raids faster with your damage bonus.
I would only make the damage bonus work against all rather than everything else.
How hard would it be to make damage bonuses apply to the Ulm, if given how many components it has?
I think we'd just be fine putting the Slayer category on them, I believe.
Yeah, it worked. The Dragon Hunter crossbow, I plugged into it absolutely fine. Just reading the category and all the damage might apply that fine. So.
Shiny.
Question from the chat. Makro says, why can you combine pizzas but not pies?
I don't know what kind of pies you guys eat, but any decent kind of pie around these parts, if you cut it open and remove a chunk, then all the gravy and filling spills out, unless the pie is like horribly dry or something.
You can recombine pizzas? I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, I remember doing that, 2014.
Did you program it?
Maybe.
Wait, we released
Changed
it. It wasn't
life
always a
forever.
thing.
No, yeah, we released that.
Oh, okay.
pizzas.
That makes more sense.
If you didn't program it, I must have done.
That was our colleague.
What about cake?
Yeah, but it was done properly.
What about cake? Why can't you recombine cake?
You know,
shouldn't need
it
to
doesn't come up
recombine
very
cake.
often,
Cake,
but we
eat
could
it.
totally let them recombine cake.
These are the questions we should be asking.
Are you feeling all right?
No. Inferno's getting in my head.
We've got more questions. Keep those questions in chat coming, guys. Where are we going here? Lion says, can Obor drop rune scimitars?
This has been, I mean, before launch, it's one of the drops we considered massively. But, because I mean, there is no other way to gain a rune simi in free to play apart from the extremely high smithing level. And that's why it's a strong debate, because it's essentially removing that incredibly high requirement from free to play Iron Man and giving you a much, much easier way to obtain one. Now, I think Obor is very deserving of having high level drops in free to play, and it's one of the best items in free to play. So I don't mind. I mean, it's something I'd happily pull. If the community don't mind, then I don't mind.
The chat says do it.
It wouldn't be
That's
the
a good
first.
answer.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the first thing that was like that, which needed a really high smithing requirement, where or had something really hard to do to get it, where we then made it available elsewhere.
Yeah.
And sure, there were some upset people, but by and large, they didn't seem to mind so
I mean,
much.
a normal free to play account can obviously still just buy it from the GA and buy it from a member. So
Right. All right, we like that one then. Monkfish says, can the Slayer ring have a teleport to the Chasm of Fire?
No,
We did just move a fairy ring there.
exactly. The Slayer ring doesn't need to be teleporting to all these new locations. There's plenty of teleports for all of them, we made sure of that.
Okay.
The Tybro 101 is for the back passage leading into the Brimhaven dungeon. That's probably the hardest, I think.
There's a Taibu one-eye
There is a
There is.
teleport scroll, but it's a bit
From
more
Trails.
expensive than some of the others. But if you don't want to spend that money, there is a fairy ring not too much
A
further
bit further
away.
south, yeah.
Modrock says he tweeted a nice list of locations near the new dungeons. There you go. Rash says, can you fix the raid's dungeon chest? It's very slow at withdrawing stuff, and the withdraw all option removes the items in reverse order.
A lot of our code tends to start at the end of an inventory and work backwards. We can certainly reverse that. As for what's wrong with clicking on it, we went looking for that before, and so far I've not found a cause. It's certainly not doing things differently from things like the bank. So, a bit more of a puzzle, that one, sorry.
Okay. Kingdom says, would you guys ever consider making another RuneScape book? I loved the previous books. If not, would you consider creating a quest line with the characters based around the books?
the novels.
Yeah.
Didn't RS3 do exactly that? You have a storyline with the godless?
I think
They did introduce a few characters from the books.
Can't remember
werewolves.
where
The
it's certainly
storylines
in there.
didn't follow the books, but they introduced those characters sort of where they were after the books, like showed what happened afterwards.
the
So
werewolf character is in one of their new quests. I
Yeah.
think.
And I'm sure Caramere's turned up.
Yeah.
That's the TS Church saga, the Companions Quintet, I think it says on the back, which suggests to me there might be a fourth and fifth somewhere along the line. I assume the guy's still out there somewhere.
But it's up to TS Church. It's up to the author if he wants to write more, ultimately.
I mean,
Unless any of us have got plans to write one, but I don't.
I could write you a RuneScape book, it just wouldn't be very good.
What I'd want to do, though, right, outside of the novels, I'd like to do one of those old school guides. You know, the old,
Oh,
the old
those,
thing in
yes.
school. Like, I'd love to do another one of those. That's awesome, that is.
Especially if, we could maybe use more adult humour now, we wouldn't be trying to sell it in schools.
Yes.
All right. Gigi says, will the fossils have any use besides unlocking areas and the experience drop? If I get a bunch of X fossil, will they have a use after I've already unlocked the area and gave them to the museum?
I don't know. It might be best if we leave that one for Maz when she's next available.
One thing I do know is that there's a whole economy
There's a
designed.
fossil economy designed.
Yeah.
I'd rather not try and answer that one since we've got a very high chance of just being wrong. So perhaps that one for Maz.
Yeah, no one on the sofa is actually working on Fossil Island projects directly. Whoops.
Oh well, where's Mod Wolf when you need him?
I think we're going to leave the rest of the stream to the questions from the chat. So let's see here. Trolled says, can you guys remaster Gnome Ball or maybe add a drop table?
What, so you play it for profit?
A drop table for what? Like, what drop stuff?
What do you get from playing Gnome Ball?
Agility experience.
The gnome ball.
The feeling of achievement when you win.
I mean, after you've won 5, I
yeah,
think it
love
gives you a
that.
gnome ball to take away.
So for any Sunderland fans or Browns fans, go play some Gnome Ball, you might like it.
We could always add Eye of Gnome. It's an obscure item sold in the Apatoll shops. I don't know why, but Eye of Gnome is a thing, and we could let you get it if
It's
you've
a
had a
thing?
nasty time.
Gnome Ball suddenly got
we could let you
far more
tackle the
violent.
gnomes aggressively and come away with Eye of
Taking their
Gnome.
eyes from them.
As far as the other suggestions that we have that we're going to be looking to pull in the next poll, do you want to keep those a secret until the next poll, or are we open to discussing any of that today?
Keep the big one quiet because I think they'll enjoy it when it comes out with all of the text.
I don't know which one's the big one. There's two that I wanted to talk about.
Well, there's
I
a lot
can't
of stuff
really hint at it
There's a
either.
lot of stuff involved
The
in
engine
skill
one.
capes
No.
because before we did the Slayer poll in our last poll, we were in talks about whether we do a bunch of skill cape related things or a bunch of Slayer related things. As you may have seen, we did a bunch of Slayer related things, but we would like to address quite a few of those skill cape things too, and we've talked about a few of them in this stream already. So we're going to address a few more in that poll.
The ideas I liked were related to mini games.
All right, they're fine.
Yeah. So one of them was you had a really nice idea for pest control,
Oh, thank you.
the inactivity bar. You want to explain that?
Well, in pest control at the moment, you need to do a bit of work to show sufficient zeal to be rewarded. But having done it, which doesn't take you very long, you could then spend the rest of the game, AFK or something, or whatever. So, or however you fill your time. So what we thought was that we could increase the points you get from a game, not by much, but rather than 2, 3 or 4 points, give you 3, 4 or 5 points, and in return for this you'd accept that over time your zeal would tick down a smidge, so that you couldn't just play the game for a few minutes and then AFK. You'd actually have to try and keep it up if you wanted to be rewarded at the end. So what we'd be aiming for, obviously we wouldn't want to see you just AFK for 5 minutes and then try and do all your work towards the end of the game. We'd be aiming for it so that you get a little bit more reward, but you've probably had to keep doing things during the course of the game rather than doing nothing for any period of time in there.
Really, really like that suggestion.
All I saw in the chat was yes, yes, yes throughout, and there was one no, and then he, after you finished talking, said, actually, never mind, that sounds good.
I
think it's
to
winning.
pull that in the next poll. The other one was the upping the amount of Castle Wars tickets that you received, because currently the amount that it requires to get a full set is just yeah. So,
But the big one, you'll find out. But it's the one I mentioned a couple of weeks ago in the stream about some big piece of engine work that was going on, and exciting.
They're going to fix that right-click bug. No? Oh, not that one.
What right click for?
Oh, when you've got a right-click of attack on somebody, and then you go over a threshold and it rebuilds the thing, and you end up with the wrong options in the mini menu.
Not that one.
Oh well.
Okay. A couple more questions from the chat then. Worst Iron Man says, would it be possible to make it so that you can't click attack on other people's Barrows Brothers at Barrows? It's kind of annoying.
We could make them almost like followers.
Only if we had a rule that you couldn't possibly have brought a follower and then reworked all the follower code so that the variable that it's checking to see if it's your pet is separate from the one that remembers it is your pet.
I want to take back my statement and say we can't then.
How about
I ain't ruling it out, but it'll take a little while.
Yeah.
how about we make it so if you click on the wrong one, it'll
It
try
also
and find yours and try to actually do that one.
That can work. I've done it for quite a lot of quest followers, like when I wrote Love Story or in Carnelian Rising. If you clicked on somebody else's Wise Old Man, then it tried to find your Wise Old Man and redirect you to that one. Of course, with combat, then the thing is you probably are, clicking on them rather than doing manual spell casting. For clicking, we should be fine. If they tried to ask for it to work on all manual spell casting as well, not so much. But I think they'd forgive us for that.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Right. Dragoon says, are you planning a rework of Rogue's Den minigame? A higher experience rate, for example, would be great to facilitate the boring grind for the Rogue set.
We're not planning a major piece of redesign work there because, we don't have the resources to do one of those right now. What we are thinking of, though, is changing how you get the Rogue set so that rather than having the potluck of getting the same piece over and over again and never managing the whole set, do what we did to the Lumberjack. Actually, it said Luberjack on the minutes of the meeting earlier. We're not sure what one of those is, but we meant Lumberjack. Anyway, so we were thinking of doing that to the Rogues, just like the Luberjack.
Right. I think maybe the last question then today. Ancient says, could it be possible to up the limit of 2,000 people, up the limit of 2,000 people per world for one world? RuneScape is really
So-
big, and one world with a bigger capacity would be awesome.
I actually asked Mod
Atlas?
/ Mod Mike, we can just call him God around these parts, to look into this for me last year because I wanted to assess the feasibility of doing like a 5,000 people Dead Man finale or something.
5,000 dead men.
And the job was in the backlog for like, I don't know, 6 months up towards a year or something. I was just walking past him one day to go and get a cup of tea and I just hear him shout across the office floor, "John, what the hell is this?" And he then spent the next, 10, 15 minutes explaining to me how much of a stupid idea it was.
It wasn't so much
I
about
don't
the
think it's a
stupidity of the
stupid
idea,
idea.
just the sheer number of things that are dependent on there not being that many.
The short answer is we could actually take it up to 2047 because 0 is an integer we have to account for, so we can get 2048.
That
But
sounds
we would
like us.
have to pretty much rebuild the game from scratch from an engine perspective to try and accommodate that. And every system that we have, so that's everything on the back end from billing to player support to player watched, absolutely everything.
So
all
they've got
depends.
complete assumptions that
Okay,
there's
so
only
that's not
2,000
possible.
men.
Like we would retire before that work is finished.
Yeah, do it. All right.
And
Is this?
do follow Mod Atlas on Twitter at JegXGod.
Oh, he's earning brownie
he's done
points
some
here.
he's done some incredible stuff for us over the last half a year.
He's working on something else for us at the minute, which is very, very nice. And I know he's really eager to try and talk to you guys about it, and I told him no. But you'll find out soon.
Is that answer the same reason we can't have over 2147 first?
That's the 32-bit integer limit, so 2,147,483,643, I
Oh,
think.
you better get that
It
right.
is.
I hope you got it
It's
right.
2 to the power of 32 minus 1.
QA skills.
I just remember numbers, that's fine. But yeah, that's the 32-bit
really
integer
got
limit.
it wrong
so-
now.
Technically, you can double that because you can go into negatives, but then you get into a whole sort of logical flow issue. Okay.
And it doesn't go well when you've got a price that goes into negatives. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting way to end the stream. Again, guys, don't forget, if you have Twitch Prime, you get free RuneScape membership. Up on that. We also have some of our biggest streamers and video makers joining us in the office May 8th. Coming up shortly to that. We'll be doing a lot of exciting stuff with them. Look forward to that. And that being said, that about
We should find an excuse to do Twitch Rex and Twitch Supreme.
that concludes today's Q&A, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.